and welcome. This is 360 Youth Dialogue, your favorite show here at Third Eye Africa Television. I am Juliet Omura, and today we're talking about an issue that has destabilized a lot of young people. It's on police brutality, the return of police brutality. You know, police brutality in Nigeria has been a major social, political, and also human rights issue for decades. We can trace it back to, 2015 down to decades, let me put it that way. And usually this involves not just extrajudicial killings, this involves torture and inhuman treatment in detention, extortion at checkpoints. That also counts as police brutality, arbitrary arrest, harassment based on appearance. Most young people usually face this countlessly in Nigeria, and this issue has drawn attention from international organizations like Amnesty and Human Rights Watch. By the way, today we'll delve deeper into discussing this issue and the possible solutions to this problem, where we're going to be talking on how to achieve justice, transparency, and meaningful reforms in Nigeria. In Nigeria's policing system, actually. Do stay with us after this short break. When we're back, we'll delve right into the topic. Welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in rather, you are right on time. We're about having a conversation here on 360 Youth Dialogue where we're talking about police brutality, the return actually. And I have with me here in the studio Yakubu Jibril. He's a media practitioner, a consultant, and a Pan-African. You're welcome, Jibril.
Thank you, Miss Juliet. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Just before I get back to the icebreaker question, you know how they say Yakubu manage. How have you been managing in Nigeria?
Well, Yakubu has no choice but to manage, so I'm managing well.
Exactly. So let's talk about police. Do you like the police?
Yes, I do. And if I want to be politically correct, I would say I like the good policemen and women.
Okay, the good policemen.
Yes.
You know that phrase that they say, the police is your friend. Do you actually agree with it?
Yes, I do, because just like our society today, we have the good eggs and the bad eggs. So you cannot rob Peter to pay Paul. So yes.
So you know that the everyday relationship between citizens and police, many people would not say the same thing you have said right now. They would always describe it as, oh, police, once they call police, they are talking about corruption, they are talking about, brutality and all that. But to you, what would you describe the relationship between the police and, citizens?
Personally, I think that relationship needs to have more development, more, how do I put it now so that I don't sound one-sided? There should be investment, yes, in that relationship, because over time it's been strained because of activities negative from both sides, that is the citizenry and the police officers. However, on the scale of 10, I'll rate it a solid 7.
A solid 7, that's the relationship between... Okay, let me try and rate mine. If I should rate, I think it's actually a 5, because it's in the middle of, protecting and the middle of the citizens not trusting. So it's like a 5/10 for me, from my own end. Okay, let's go to the return of police brutality. When I first discussed this topic with you, you immediately took interest and you were like, return? So
it never left.
It never left. So
it wasn't. It was just not reported.
It was not. Please tell me from your own view.
Now let's take a look at what's happening presently in this country with insecurity. There are cases that are yet to be reported.
Okay.
Or generally, everything is underreported. Not because there are no accounts or events, but because there are some interests, some parties who have interest in some aspects of the insecurity, and putting everything out there wouldn't play into their cards. And so you find that if you have relatives or friends or people in those affected areas, you talk to them like basically like let's say weekly. You get to hear some stories that you don't read or hear on the daily media. This thing. So basically, that's just what it is. It never left. Because you don't hear about it doesn't mean that it's not happening or it hasn't happened. Yeah, so basically, personally, that is my take on the situation.
I'm glad you brought up this undercovering of police brutality, and it actually encompasses a whole lot, not
Sure.
just the recent one we heard of
Sure.
in Delta
Yeah.
or any other one,
Unfortunately.
the unfortunate one. In fact, the mother of the boy, of the man, 'cause
Lost two sons to
she
such.
lost two
Yeah,
sons. Like, you can see that that's actually going on. Imagine other families that probably may not have led to death, extortion, these harassment most especially. But thank God you came to that angle.
Yeah.
Or I think I would go back to that angle later. But let's go to 2020, where we saw NSAS. That's like the major blow against police brutality in 2020. And before then, 2015, it resurfaced. There was a ban 2017, there was a ban 2018, up until 2020. But do you think the police brutality has left since the ban?
Like I said earlier, no.
Okay.
And I personally would say we need sincerity of purpose in our policing, both for the senior ranked officers and the junior ranked officers.
Okay.
We've had situations where we tend to want to change nomenclatures, not the operators.
Explain on that.
Okay, good. Now, what is the idea of NSAS? Really, if you look at it holistically, what is the idea? What does it encompass? Now, there are people who, I think on the side of the citizens, is more like change your operators, change your mode of operations, and look into how you can improve the average policeman's life, right?
Okay.
Talking about standard of living, salary, income, and even transportation. Sometimes you find out a large number of police officers don't have their own personal way of moving around as mobility. Now, you find out that there are cases where you see citizens, like while growing up, let me just start going back a bit. There were times where in public transports, like I'm from the north, so if you're coming, say, from Kebbi to Abuja, the uniform men don't pay fees or complete fees, transportation fees, because of that respect. Now, people then saw them as a means of security, extra security, because then I think what Nigeria was dealing with was armed robbery. Yeah, so they felt it was sort of like a relief for the drivers and the motorists, that is the passengers. But now moving on, let's say to early 2000s or mid 2000s, you find that such culture just died a natural death. Yes, there are factors that led to that, but we as a nation should be able to take some steps back, look at the drawing board, and see where we've gone wrong and how we can improve and make it right when it comes to that relationship between police and citizens. So basically, that's my take. I don't want to go much into it because of one or two things, really.
One or two things. Actually, this particular topic is actually a very sensitive topic, because a lot of young people would want to talk about it, but these are actually false men. These are people with weapons. These are weapons to protect, actually.
Yeah, sure.
But to other people, they don't want to talk against or say it for or against, or say it as it is, because you never can tell.
It's sensitive.
It's very sensitive.
It's very, very.
But as they say, they have been disbanded. That SARS we're talking about, SARS now. But their
But
track
were
record, they were
they
officially.
changed the name,
That's where.
but the same officers
Okay.
still stand on the roads and harass people.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes me back to what I said earlier, sincerity of purpose. Now, were we having issues with the nomenclature, which is SAS, right? Or the operators, that is the officers?
Okay.
A name is just a name on the
Okay.
board, right? If a journalist does not take a camera, a microphone, or a recording device to an event, how does that person get entry into the event? You have to identify yourself, right? So if the journalists don't report, most people don't know what's happening, don't get to know what's happening. Now, the problem is, for me, the operators, the officers, how are they recruited? What sorts of trainings do they undergo? And in the wake of the woke movement now, how mentally stable are they? Right? Because, like I said earlier, an average police officer doesn't have a personal means of transportation. Now, between your residential location and your official location, which is your office, there are factors that you have to contend with before you transport yourself from your home to the office. Now, what happens in between, that transporting phase? Now, you might get agitated by a co-passenger, something someone said or did, and it sticks with you mentally, and you go pick up arms and go back to the street to protect, to serve and protect, as it were. And I think if we were to try to prefer solutions to these issues, because I, for one, I am one to not only shed light on the issues, but solutions also, right? Because we can't always just sit here in the comforts of our studios or wherever it is and say the police this, the police that, the orgas this, the junior staffs this, blah, blah. What are the issues? These are the issues now. How do we solve the issues? And I think as a nation, we are very poor in that aspect of preferring solutions.
Solutions. We rather just, talk.
Meaningful solutions.
Okay, but where you spoke about mental health is very, very important.
Yes,
because imagine a police officer sometimes who is trigger happy now, and he has issues at home, family. He doesn't have the resources. The country is controlling him and controlling him around. Nigeria is happening to him. And imagine a situation where you are at fault. Let's say, okay, it's just a little problem. To that citizen, he's going to pour out every problem, every frustration on that person. And remember, this person has a weapon. So whether to him, he's actually, protecting, he's actually on his right. He's doing the right thing.
Duty.
But, he's carrying out his duty. But extrajudicial killing does not actually warrant. I don't know about you. It does at all. From the law, from constitution, from right, extrajudicial killing does not count at all. But let's talk about rebranding and replacement. You already said a thing about sincerity of purpose now. And someone actually said to me that, I was wondering, he said that SARS has been officially disbanded, but their oppression are still very much. He was actually telling me about his friend that actually went through this. And I'm like, SARS was actually officially disbanded, but how come their oppressions are still very much active, but rebranded with a new name? So that takes me to where I have the question of, now the new name and also the men from before. Let's say it's been disbanded, it's been cancelled. What happened to those men? Were they taken, the same group of people, and redeployed into SWAT? They cancelled it from SARS to SWAT. Is it the same people they are dealing with or something?
Of course, it's the same people.
So no retraining, no nothing.
Well, I think I saw, was it a training course that happened or took place at, I think, Nasarawa? Just, I think, a week or within a month of the whole saga and stuff, where they went some shooting practice, I think.
Is that what is necessary? Shooting practice?
Well, that's why That is why I said earlier,
Okay.
sincerity of purpose. If you say you want to do something, mean it and do it to the latter. Now, back to your question. Honestly, it was just a change of name. The operation is still the same. The operators, officers, still the same. Let's just talk about something. A sad note in our history as a nation. What happened in Delta State that we spoke about earlier. That a woman lost 2 of her sons to that unfortunate act by a member of the Nigerian police force. We need to really look at the causes. Now, the officer in this particular case was, I think, brought in from Delta to Abuja. And if you don't take keen interest in that situation or issue, you wouldn't know where the case is at the moment, right? Because it made the headlines online, offline, normal media and stuff, but it's underreported. What's the progress now? We don't know. Where is the guy being kept? We don't know. What's going to happen to him? We don't know. Now, and I think it goes to show how bad of policies we have in the nation when it comes to security and extrajudicial killings or activities or whatever. And I think in some developed countries, before you commit a crime, you already know what's coming for you. Because there is no crime that is new. You can only remodify it based on your current environment. So now is a case of he say, she said. And in the news, I had someone complain to me about a caption in the media I think some days ago, or last week. I can't really recollect. She had an issue with the caption that says, so and so police officer arraigned because of an alleged extrajudicial killing. Like, we all saw it on the video. So how is that an allegation?
Yeah.
Right? But then we still need to understand that the law has to take its due course and there are processes for that before, the court will say every man is innocent until proven
otherwise.
Good. So we need to go back to the drawing board and work on our policies honestly. Now, let's create policies that will not only safeguard lives of the citizenry, but the police officers also.
Exactly.
Now, you spoke about a police officer who is armed on duty. And now, that is the trigger-happy police or military or uniform personnel. Now, most of them are I don't think they are well educated. Now, not to say that you need proper education
Like
to
formal
be
education?
to be sound and to be a human being and have human feelings and empathy and sympathy, but it goes a long way because in a classroom, you just don't learn about what the teacher is teaching you. You learn how to coexist, right? You get people from different backgrounds, different states, different ideology, different religious beliefs, and you get to learn how to live with a person based on that person's personality. So mentally, it helps that you understand that someone who is in a rush might not properly be thinking about the safety of him or herself or the next person, but how you try to interpret or enforce the law on that person sometimes is different from how you interpret or enforce the law from the next person, because you understand that, okay, this is this person and this is this person and this is the situation. So it goes a long way in helping if the officers or the operators are well educated. And then I think there are cases where you have police people or police officers or any uniform personnel going for in-house and out-house training. It helps, and these things that we're talking about and that we want to see implemented is not far-fetched. You don't need a rocket scientist to tell you that this would help in so and so manner or ways, and this will help in. It's just, you just need to look at it from an unbiased standpoint, and it's there. The answer is there. You don't have to to go into research really to see, like you said earlier, the relationship also between the citizens and the officers. We need, even the citizens, I think they need a bit of education.
Okay, so it's
Yes.
a two-sided
Of course, it's always
education.
it's always a coin has two sides, right? You have two arms, left and right. So if there is an issue, you should be able to look at it from both sides. Okay, what are the police? Because these people who are shouting and clamoring for change and disbandment or whatever, they are human beings. They have families to feed, right?
Yes.
Most of them make more. We're not in support of this. I personally am not in support of this, but it is a fact. It is what is happening in our locality. Most of them make more money on duty than what's
From
being
the salary,
salaries and other entitlements. So to them is a means to make, and everything is expensive now. It's always been, everything has been on the rise. So you have to look at the economical, how do I put it? Yes, economical practice and how it affects both citizens. Everybody's angry. Everybody is stressed, mentally, financially, emotionally, even physically. Some people, you see them walking around, is disheartening to say, but it's a fact. They're just like cops moving, looking for, where to rest in peace. So sometimes we need to understand that, yes, there's a problem from both sides.
Okay.
Sometimes the way, okay, let's say you're driving, a motorist is driving and he gets pulled over by a police officer. There is a natural anger. There's this agitation that you can see from the motorist's face against, even without the officer saying a word. There's this negative. So we need to find ways, because I believe it's more than a single way, anyways, to further push for positive relationships between both parties. And I think it will go a long way. And I don't think we have to spend, the government has to spend much on all this. It's just sensitization, really. And then the same way, I think they say this catchphrase, catch them young.
Yeah.
Why not educate them young? Go back to the primary schools, civil education.
Well, before we actually go down to the solutions, because you've actually highlighted on some causes here.
Yeah.
And when you said education, it actually resonated with me, because education does not just have to do with, formal education in class and all that. And educating both parties would actually build trust. That's where you're coming from. Now, talking about mental health in Nigeria, they say everybody is mad. Everybody's just going through one thing or the other.
One of our favorite musicians went on record and said that, Davido. I think it was after that lockdown, during the lockdown. He said at some point everybody in this country don't mad. Even me, I don't craze.
We're all going through one thing or the other. But the thing is this: we ought to have that mental awareness. Everybody have to know how to approach, how to respond, how to actually go about your mental health. If possible, putting it in curriculum.
Why not?
Putting it in curriculum, in
Why not?
schools, workplace, very important. Because when this is inculcated in around different sector, around different scope.
Even religiously.
Really, exactly.
They
religiously.
can just 5-10 minutes of your sermon, just talk about how to, respect the police or the uniform man, and then how the uniform men, because they are all religious people also. They go to churches and they pray at mosques and all that stuff. So I think it cuts all across board.
Exactly.
To be honest, it's not. It will not do us any good if we decide to just look at one institution, organization, and say, you do this, you do this. No, everybody needs to do better.
I want you to still stay on that point and highlight the importance of mental health awareness in when it comes to relating with officers relating with people, just human relation entirely. What's in this particular police brutality? How do you think mental health plays its part and its importance?
Mental health is everything, really. I mean, what is a human being if it's not human?
Okay, what's a human being if he's not human? That's taking it to another question. But okay, when you're done.
So the mental health side, or aspect is, where do you even start from? Because when you have, I had a secondary school teacher, Mr. Kanu. I think was it agric? Yeah. He used to say something and it's stuck with me ever since. He used to say, having a problem is not a problem. Having a problem and not knowing you have that problem is the problem, right? Now, we should all, as a nation, come together in whatever way or manner, and first of all, agree that we have a problem, which is ignoring or not accepting that we have, over time, neglected the importance of positive mental health. Right? Because mental health is both negative and positive. So we need to sow more seeds on the positive aspects. An average Nigerian is in a hurry.
Exactly.
If you've been to the streets, you know. If let's take for instance the traffic light is showing you 3 seconds more.
So zooming.
We just like, man, these 2-3 seconds, I can't wait to. Instead of you to like calm down and look at, okay, who else is about to, we'll just match it and then it ends up in a disaster. So these are all cases of mental health issues because we tend not to put the lives and properties of others at the top burner of our agenda for the day. And for this discourse, I think, like I said, not catch them young, educate them young. That yes, all might be in suit, but in different pursuits. You might see a well-dressed human, but upstairs, it's chaotic. So if a kid who is basically a sponge to the society, whatever is happening in society, affect him, either directly or indirectly. If that kid now is aware that I need to treat the next person specially or in a special way, because that person might be going through some things. If we just take time to be our brother's keepers, just like he says others in the Holy Book, it goes a long way because people elasticity period when it comes to pressure is different. Some people just not what you say, but how you say what you say is a problem. Right? They don't care to say, okay, what is he trying to say? You might have used some wrong words, instead of a more plain and innocent word, you use the negative word because there are some words that are positive and negative that they have. Yeah. So they don't sit back to look at, okay, what was, for instance, now Miss Juliet trying to say in what she just said. It's just how you said it. I don't like your tone. I don't like how you spoke to me. I don't like the way you rolled your eyes while saying it. So if we put all these things into consideration and see that, okay, the next person you might not be aware of the exact issue wrong with the person, but you just have this mental capability to see that, okay, something might be wrong with so person. It helps a great deal in curbing outbursts.
That's right.
And, some people they just have that ability to think criminally. Someone speaks to you anyhow, you're looking for the next possible way to hurt that person, to make the person feel the way you felt or you feel it or you are feeling now. So basically, that mental health stuff is not appreciated enough in a nation, and I think the whole continent, suffers from that. Even in the Western world, where they are more, developed in terms of all these things that we need to put on the table and discuss, they still have these issues because everybody has there's what's that expression? Anyways, when it comes, I'll get back to it and say it. There is no house without an issue. right?
True.
Yeah, you might be looking up to the Western world and how they operate and how they do their things. They have their own peculiar issues, right? Even in this subject matter that we're discussing, it affects them separately. Talking about the school shootings, it's still
Exactly.
a mental, because how can a right-thinking human just decide to go to a school, a learning center, and just open fire without, I don't think, even if there is a cause, I think there are ways legally to resolve issues. So
Exactly.
if a man or a human really is sound mentally, such things will not be seen or heard in our society today. So we need to really, really think outside the box when it comes to acknowledging that mental health is an issue in our dispensation.
Exactly. Mental health is an issue in our dispensation and actually can be used to build trust. But you already pointed out that, we're seeing a glimpse of this whole um, police brutality here and there, not just in Nigeria, because it's not something peculiar to only Nigeria.
Yeah, sure.
We've seen it in New York, Washington, London, and across continent actually, even in Kenya, here in our continent, our neighbors here. So it plays out. But really, let's take a global look at this police brutality. What do you think actually fuels police brutality and causes the continuous repetition, despite, clamoring, oh, disband here, punishment here, and all that?
So I don't know how well vast you are about the whole slave trade thing. Who were the people that escorted the slaves from their homes to the ships? There were still individuals that were, as it were, the police. Do you remember those uniform men with short uniforms and socks on? So I think it's been embedded in our DNA to not have a positive relationship with the police, right? Now, globally, we still have the same issues, like when a black, they call it African American, was killed, George, when the whole Black Lives Matter started. So you get to see that ugly face everywhere and every region you look. Now, the issue here is it's always been in the DNA of the police force to have a goal with the citizenry. There's nobody, I don't think there's any culture or national on earth here who is cool with arresting. So that idea of arresting already is a trigger.
Okay, that's for the citizens.
Yes. We've had cases where peacefully the uniform men will track a suspect or want to invite the person, and they go to his house or his location and invite him or try to arrest him or escort him. You see a mob who they have no clue what the situation is and why that man is being escorted to the police station or under police custody. But they just feel like, it shouldn't be done this way, it shouldn't be done that way, you should do this, you should do that. So we seem to have a situation where it's like a prey and a predator. Even in the jungle, if an antelope sees a lion just passing by, minding his business, probably even looking for a stream of water to drink from, the antelope takes off. Why? Because it's already in the DNA, the situation of the predator and the prey. So I think globally, on a global scale, it's just really quite unfortunate that we've had, through our culture, our history, and DNA also, because it's embedded in us as it is now over time. What scientists will call gene mutation, something that happens and becomes part of a particular offspring or something of that nature. So the policeman arresting and the person being arrested, there's that friction.
Okay.
Because, for instance, now if let's say you're working at night or in the evening, let's just put it that way, and you see a police officer moving in the opposite direction, most people will switch lanes.
But they are meant to protect you, so you should feel more
Have they been
protected.
protecting?
Supposedly.
So we too supposedly we are not safe. So the thing is, it's back and forth. Like you get,
Yeah.
it's give and take. Like I said, people need to understand that there are issues,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And the policemen also, or the uniform men in general, are humans, right? Now, those in uniform also need to understand that over time, some things some things have happened that is making the citizens not feel safe
Around them.
with them, not even around them, because you can see a police officer, you just move the other way, because you're scared that the person might just be in need of quick cash and he's like, let me go through your phone, let me see your phone. And he has no right to do that. Your phone as a personal effect can only be searched, investigated with a note from the court for you to submit it for him, because it's I think material for investigation, or how they put it, right? But we find ourselves in a country where it's the order of the day. There.
Let's still stay there. And so another point coming to me right now is, you know how the police serve both the state and the people. Do you think them serving more of the state actually has placed that distrust with the people? Because the government of the day, you know, they have to also protect the government of the day. They have to protect the state as a whole, the infrastructure and everything. That same trust that breaks, that same duty or obligation that they have for these two entities has caused distrust between the people, because they feel like, oh, the police is for the government. It's the government that paid their salary, remunerates them and all that. So they can't actually be for me, especially if, you know, we want to protest, or we just want things to be right. People see the police as government property. So I don't know if you think the same way, or as a court.
I think I would say rightfully so. Why? Because it is said in the Holy Book, where a man's wealth is, there his heart lies. And unfortunately, it's, as a popular saying, I think it was a meme some time ago, it is what it is. So, yes, the government itself, primary purpose and duty is to protect life and property, right? Same as the police, right? Now, the issue is, I would liken it to a residential location kind of scenario. The security man, who do you think he's there for?
He's there for the people.
For the people, to usher them in, open the gates, and, you know, secure who's inside. Now, if you go to someone's residential location and you're like, I would like to see the owner of this house, what do you expect from the security man?
He's going to actually take permission from the owner of the house. So, in safeguarding the people, you're now saying
the police are bound to carry out the duties said by the owner of the house, if you understand what I'm saying.
This takes me to another point of political interference. You know, people have been clamoring state policing here and there. And a lot of people have the same fear of this would actually take its turn on the government and the people also. So this whole corruption, political interest and all that, it actually plays its turn in police brutality, and not just on the police itself. You know, I had someone here the other time, and he was saying that the terrorist is not the problem. Terrorism is the problem. So now we're looking at police brutality. I will also say that the police, they are not the problem. It's the people behind, you know, the brutality that are the problem.
So, since we're all journalists, you ask me questions, and it's my turn to ask you a question. Who kills, the gun or the man with the gun?
The man with the gun is the one who pulls the trigger.
Good. Now, I say that to say, state policing is just a weapon. Really.
That's from your own perspective.
Yes, it is, because it can be a good thing under strict regulations, right? And also, from my first few minutes in this discourse, I said something about sincerity of purpose from both the operators and the government officials deploying these state police officers. Now, have we seen states, countries where this state policing is actually active? How has it been thus far? What are the issues? What are the pros? What are the cons? Now, is that something we think or we feel that bringing it to our own domain will thrive? For me, it's a no. Why? Because I think it was in 1979 where there was a discourse that we just had to move away from state policing. Why? Because of the negatives were more than the positives. Now, if we are having these issues, because it is being alleged that some police men and women are being used also to disenfranchise the citizens when it comes to elections and what have you. So, if at the federal level we're having these kind of issues and control over the policing or the policeman and woman on the streets who really is there to protect, serve and protect. Good. And if we're having that amount of interference from those at the head of the policing and the government, as it were, what makes you think that it will not be translated also to the state policing? Now, we need to understand that the state policing has, like I said, more negatives than positives. Why? Because we have issues ranging from political interference, state police officers being used to oppress oppositions, right? And even the citizenry, at the point of casting your votes, some are being told to go away. Not because they don't have the right documents to cast their vote, but just because it does not serve who is sending them, that's the police officers, to that particular polling unit, right? Then we have abuse of power, which we are still fighting against. And that is what brings about the police brutality, and because they feel they are superior to the everyday man, right? And then we have the financial aspect of it. Financing the policing of this nation is still an issue, right? And I think the global best practice for the policing is an officer to 400 to 450 citizens. That's global best practice. Now, look at that figure and look at what is happening in our nation. It's almost an officer to 600 or 650 citizens.
That's close to 1,000.
So how do we leave this federalized policing to state policing when we still have these issues at the federal level?
You know, we'll come back to that, but let's take a short break where after that we'll talk more on, the issues, solutions, and all that. Do stay with us here. Welcome back from that short break, and if you're just tuning in, you're welcome. I mean, we've been having a wonderful conversation here. Not just wonderful, sensitive conversation on police brutality, the return. But my guest here, Yakubu, said it never left. So we're still talking on the same issue that has been on ground since 2015 or thereabout. And let's go straight to 2020. 2020 marked a significant ferocity that led to the protest. Do you think that had a significant impact? And what do you think that the government's response did? Was the government's response, did it equate, the justice that should be served and all that?
Yes and no. Yes, because there were some steps that was taken by the government and the senior police officers that seemed to have calmed down the citizenry, even though the frustration and agitation never left. But over time, we could see that after that said period, we didn't have any riots, kind of the same capacity as the NSAS. And if you cast your mind, a while back, we had Vision 2020 as a nation,
Mm.
right? But unfortunately, the occurrence of what had happened then took over the year 2020.
Mm.
And most of the issues brought up against the policing of the nation, policing departments of the nation, still exist until now. And I think they will still exist in, nearest future if something seriously or serious is not done, right? And I said no because, like I said earlier, we still have the same operators and the same operations, just a
that's
change of name
another, yeah.
from SARS to SWAT.
Mm.
So basically, it's a lukewarm situation. It's neither hot or cold, but it does exist. Those things that some people died to see it changed still linger around, unfortunately. So, and I think the government, on their own path, they've done what they think they should do. But really, have you done what you should do? Are they doing what they ought to be doing? Are they doing right by the officers and their citizens? So it depends on where you stand, which side of the wall or fence you stand. But for where I stand, honestly, it's just that it happened and it went. But the reasons why it happened, we're still seeing them.
We're still seeing them up to now.
Unfortunately.
So
yeah.
the government's response did not equate to the justice that should be served either ways.
What is justice?
Justice is abstract. It has an abstract meaning to
Exactly.
everybody.
So what is justice for Miss Juliet might not be justice for Mr. Yakubu, right? But we need to find a balance and equilibrium where every party is not 100% happy, but it's like, okay, good, we can coexist with this. So we need that. The government need policies and in place to bring about that point of equilibrium where the citizenry and the uniformed men are seen eye to eye. Let's just put it that way. Yeah.
So there's no justice has to be served equally.
For both, yeah, because we've had cases where the citizenry or the citizens attack uniformed men.
Very true.
Yeah,
very true.
because like I said, in some other places, before you commit a crime, you know the capacity and the velocity and the amount of wrath from the law that is coming down to you. But here in Nigeria, we seem not to know.
Yeah, speaking on, citizens attacking uniformed men, that majorly the youth.
I think it's a felony under the law.
Exactly. And this is because of the anti-police belief and relationship. How can the youth strengthen this relationship with the police? Now, not the government, not the police, the youth themselves.
We just need to remember how to be human again.
Still coming back to this, you said it before. You said that it's that what a human being is
what
not,
is a human being if
it's
not human? Yeah.
Exactly. That's what. Do you think we've lost our humanity?
Do I think? What do you think? What do your viewers think? Of course we have. Of course we have. How can a sane individual attack a police officer or a uniformed man? Right? So, and then how can and why should an employee of the state whose duty is to serve and protect lives and properties of a locality attack the citizens without any reason, so to say? We've had cases where, okay, your judicial system and your prison system, they're all flawed. They're all flawed. The police officer is to, if you try to safeguard lives and property and it doesn't work, is for you to pick up that person and hand it over to the judicial system for justice to take its due course. But we have people languishing and people even died in prisons
without trial.
They you know when they say you have a right to an attorney, they don't even know what an attorney is or a lawyer is to represent them. There are people, I think there was someone that got, I've forgotten his name, I think he's in Lagos, that spent 8 years in prison because it was alleged that he stole a chicken.
That's funny.
Alleged.
8 years is a lot
for a chicken.
for an allegation.
Of
Okay.
stealing a chicken. When we have
Yeah.
senior of
criminals.
exactly being celebrated. Celebrated. There are names that we shouldn't call, but we know even in political atmosphere that you leave a particular party to a particular political party and all your sins are forgiven.
Interesting.
yeah.
Interesting. You know, let's come to solution, because you said in the beginning that it's not just to talk about the issues. Preferring the solution is actually what makes any discussion important.
Fact.
Now let's talk about the suggestions, the solutions, policy reform. What policy reform do you think that Nigeria should be practicing that would actually help in our policing system?
Do you know the problem? We've, over time as a nation, always tried to sit in the comforts of our offices, well, air-conditioned offices, I must add, and just look at things and come up with ideas. And ideas do birth policies. We should be able to, from the north, the Hausawa would say, "Enhagu beba akuma madama." That means if the left doesn't work, you turn to your right. So if you're doing something in a particular or certain way and it's not working, it's not yielding results, why not try another thing? So I think we're almost 70 years as a nation, right? If, let's say, for almost 70 years, you've not been able to bring up or come up with policies that would help this situation, don't you think you should try something else? A town hall meeting maybe might work. You get, like, you have a certain arena that can house these police officers and the citizens. Maybe police officers who have had run-ins with civilians and civilians who have had run-ins with the police or uniform man. Have a sit around the table and talk. Okay, I acted this way in my scenario. There's now a civilian talking in the said meeting in this particular scenario, and I acted this way because of so and so. Now the police people understand that, okay, this said person or persons in the society react in a particular way because of what they have witnessed before, what they have seen. They said experience is the best teacher.
Yeah.
I dare say someone's experience can be your best teacher. You don't have to experience police brutality for you to understand that it's an issue. Right? You might. I have a friend. I served in Asaba, Delta State. I have a friend. I will not say his name. He was holding forth for his parents in the poultry business. So he used to transport. I think it was from Ugeli to Asaba Central to sell for the parents, and he was a student. Now they saw him because he owned a flashy phone, and it was an issue for whatever reason to the police officers, and he was brutalized. Right? Now we need to have a sit down, like, okay, let's sit down. What are your issues? Why do policemen seem to react or have no respect for the citizenry? Now, why does it seem like the citizenry don't, what's this word? Why does the citizenry not rate the police officers? So basically it's just the two parties coming together, and then those at the top, as it were, picking, and making policies off the discourse.
Interesting. Thank you so much for your input. But
Thank you for
out
having
of
me.
time constraint, I think we'll have it here at this moment. Thank you so much, Yakubu, for
Thank
joining
you.
us here.
Thank you.
And to our wonderful audience, thank you so much. You've heard it. Police brutality is not just a surface thing. It's not just a police thing. It's something that did have to be dialogue, both from grassroots dialogue down to, media coverage. You emphasized on media coverage, and this is one thing that the media have to do, take its turn on, bringing out issues, such issues, and bringing it out there and preferring solutions. Also, mental health awareness, very important, and that's so much we've discussed on the solutions here on our topic on this episode here on 360 Youth Dialogue. I am Juliet Omura. Keep watching Third Eye Africa Television.